All right, welcome back, crime fighters, to the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us lock up the bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, your host. I don't actually lock anybody up, but he does. This is our sheriff, Matthew Wade. And you prefer not to lock them up.
I prefer the Andy Griffith method, but sometimes we have to lock people up for their own good and for the public's good, but not always.
And sometimes the public helps us out with doing that.
You know, I had a guy talk to me at Walmart the other day. I was shopping, I was off, and the guy said, I see you on there, you're always asking for us to help you. And he goes, I appreciate you. So I just want to tell him I appreciate him and his watching and all of you watching. So we couldn't do it without you, and if you don't get involved, we're not a success. So it brings us up to 3 arrests this week. So it brings our number up to 4,432 people arrested, all because people were willing to help us. And it's our job to give that trust to you and for you to trust us. So we work on that every day.
Yeah. Before we get too much further on the show, I know you want to say a thank you to somebody who's been a part of this show for many, many years.
Absolutely.
But won't be on the show anymore because he's retiring and moving on to a new phase of life.
Absolutely. John Garlick is a great man. He's a man of many talents. You know, people that know John know that he's a scuba diver, he can play the guitar, he plays the bagpipes, he MCs events, he's with cast, he's done all kinds of things.
A Renaissance man.
A Renaissance man, and he's been the mental health officer for Calhoun County and the chief deputy, and he's a licensed counselor, he's an accountant, he's just a man of many talents, and we're going to miss him because he's decided to retire, and he's actually going to be September 1st, but he's going to take some time off between now and then, and we're going to miss him and miss his talents, but we wish him all the success that somebody can have in retirement, and hope that he enjoys his time off.
And when we say retirement, you know, he will be working again
soon.
Yeah,
he's decided to be and go into private practice for himself. He's a licensed counselor, so he's going to be a counselor, somebody that's looking for one, and he's a good one. Mm-hmm. And he still might show his face around the sheriff's office some, helping with mental health issues, but you know, being in law enforcement for many years takes its toll, and he's earned the right. He's gave us a very good service to the citizens here, and I'd like to honor him for what he's done for me and for the sheriff's office.
And we both know John well enough to know that he's going to be changing roles, but the community is not going to be missing John. John is still going to be active and contributing very much in this community.
John is a busy man, an active man, and I'm sure he will continue doing all those wonderful things that he does.
All right, so thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
And thank you to each of you watching this program and your willingness to help make Calhoun County a better place as well. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, time to get to work. Here's the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. If you recognize someone and have information on where they can be located, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers. We'll have that number for you here in just a moment. Rodney McGatha of Piedmont is wanted for failure to pay for theft of property, 3rd degree. Christopher House of Jacksonville wanted on failure to appear warrants for possession of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Glenn Lee of Piedmont wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Maurice McCauley of Anniston wanted on bond revocation for possession of marijuana, 1st degree. Allison Fizel of Anniston wanted on a failure to appear warrant for fraudulent use of a credit card. Glenda Howell of Anniston wanted on a probation violation for theft of property, 1st degree. And Andrew Landrum Jr. of Jacksonville wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. If you have any information about anyone in this video and where they can be located, please contact Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. All right, Sheriff, there's been a lot of talk here lately about looking back. And 50 years ago, a momentous occasion occurred when man set foot on the moon. And that is worth celebrating. But it's not the only momentous occasion that happened 50 years ago, is it?
No, that is not the only momentous occasion.
Dr. C.O. Grinstead is joining us. And Dr. Grinstead, you and I go way back.
We do go way back, and I'm just thinking, you're talking about that, it sounded like I was a prisoner 50 years ago.
No. 50 years ago, you came into to Trinity Baptist Church in Oxford, and wow, half a century has gone
1969, right.
Wow. It's been a long time since...
I was only 3 years old at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
Of course, I don't lie much.
Yeah, right. It's been a long time since you heard he ain't from around here, hasn't
That's
it?
right.
Yeah. Where were you originally before you came to Oxford?
I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana, which is a hoodlum city. It is bad, bad crime up there, bottom of Lake Michigan. And after graduated from college, accepted a church in Jacksonville, Florida. And from Jacksonville, Florida, came here. Just exciting time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Oxford, Alabama, 1969.
4,000 people in Oxford at that time.
And now Oxford is the third largest city in Talladega County, if I'm correct, as well as one of the largest cities in Calhoun County. And not just Oxford, but all of the area. You came in with a fresh perspective 50 years ago, having been elsewhere, and now watching over 50 years. It would be great to get your perspective on the flow of our community over these years as you've been overseeing the school with young people for so many years and the church there. You've got to have some great insight as to where we've been and where we're headed.
You know, there's an exciting journey, and I call it a journey that God's brought me into. When I came as assistant pastor of the church, and the pastor said to me, we've been thinking about two things. One, of starting a radio program. Mm-hmm. And so that program, I got the equipment together, assembled it. I've got an electronic background. And we started broadcasting over WHMA, AM only. There's no FM at that time. And the second project that he wanted to do is to begin a Christian school. And I said, why did you ask me? The only thing I know about a school is I spent time in the principal's office. And he laughed at me. And so I assembled some of our church people that were school teachers and started asking them questions. What do you think about this? How do you think about that? We came up with the idea of, we were already doing a daycare and a kindergarten 5. We were going to start 4 elementary grades and then 1 grade each year after that. And that has been really an exciting journey because all the time I meet people, and of course I don't recognize them now that they're adults. And I have to say, who are you? And what grades did you go to Trinity Christian Academy? Yeah. But that's exciting.
Oh, my grade was just the 1 year. I was there for 7th grade back in 19...
he needed straightening out so he could make it somewhere else. So I appreciate you doing that for him. It's made all the difference in his life.
We're still working on him.
It was a very significant time in my life. I had just come back. I was born here and spent my first 10 years here in this community. And then my mother was English, and we moved over to be in her home country, which actually her brother had migrated, my uncle, up to Scotland. We lived 1.5 years in Scotland, and then we came home. And then my transition year coming back was my 1 year at Trinity Christian Academy, and that was another new experience, but also kind of a welcome home. And it was God bless you for putting up with me for that year, because I know I was.
Did you ever paddle him? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. God's allowed me to be in many countries around the world because I travel a lot with missions. I've been in 63 countries, but Great Britain I've been in several times. Mm-hmm. And you think of how much of America started because of Great Britain. And I know there was the Revolutionary War and all the conflict there. But there's a lot of heritage that we have going back to that country.
There absolutely is. So much of what we are as a nation was planted by the British. And certainly I feel it. I'm actually a dual citizen. I'm a citizen of both countries, which some people think, you can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. I've got passports for both and got property in both, or at least my dad does over there, and that'll theoretically be mine at some point. But there's a great relationship between the two nations that I hope we'll be able to continue on. But here in Calhoun County, we kind of got our own thing going.
We do, and you'll talk about Sheriff being here. I'll tell you, I am so thankful for the law protection that we have in this county. Mm-hmm. I'm chaplain of the police department in Oxford. Wow, I ride with these guys every 3rd Friday, and oh my goodness. And not just ride with them, I get involved with them. I get out in direct traffic. I've got a vest with that, and when we get into domestic disputes, that's probably where I can help the greatest in some of those areas, and those are tough ones, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
I believe the Oxford Police Department now has the same number of employees that the city of Oxford had residents when you came to Oxford.
That's true. That's true.
Close
yeah.
to it. Things have grown, things have changed, and certainly Oxford has changed as much as any part of the county, I would say.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
I wish God would allowed me to be born here because I love the people of this area. In fact, when I go back up north to visit, I have one sibling, my sister in Northwest Indiana. People say, "You sound like those Southerners." I say, "Well, thank you. That's a compliment to me."
All right, we need to take a quick break, but we want to talk some more things with you here in just a second. We will be back in just a moment. We'll have the second half of this week's lineup and more with Dr. Grinstead here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, it's time for the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted, and we're going to start this one with Kristen Brooks of Oxford, wanted on a probation revocation for possession of a controlled substance, use and possession of drug paraphernalia, promoting prison contraband, and destroying state property by an inmate. Vonda McGee of Anniston wanted on a probation violation for obstructing justice using false ID. Justin West of Talladega wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of marijuana first degree and possession of marijuana second degree. Jennifer Renfro of Piedmont wanted on a bond revocation for possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana second degree, and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Austin Snell of Wellington wanted for receiving stolen property first degree. Krista Jones of East Aboga wanted on a failure to appear warrant for passing bad checks, negotiating with a non-negotiable instrument. If you have any information about these cases, please contact Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. We want your information, not your name, and you could get a cash reward of up to $1,000. And we've still got the Crime Stoppers segment coming up later on in the show. All right, we will have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show in just a few minutes, but right now we're talking with Dr. Grinstead from Trinity Baptist Church in Oxford. And the parishioners okay with you being on Calhoun County's Most Wanted?
Well, they probably think I am one of the wanted on that.
Well, it's all how you say it. You know, you could always tell people, or I could tell people, Dr. Grinstead was on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
One of your former students now holds the record for most appearances on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Well, that's true.
Several
That is
hundred.
true. That is true. You know, really, I'm thankful for friends here in this area. Not just, you know, you're all of Calhoun County, but the blessing of people in this area. And I guess because of our radio stations, that makes my voice visible to many people. I was at the hospital recently and just laughing. I can't stand and just stand there waiting. I got to talk to people. And same thing when I'm on an elevator. But a nurse was getting off the elevator as I was laughing. And she turned and she said, "You're Brother Grinstead." It's like,
All right.
just by the laugh. But you know, I'm thankful to be able to minister to people and help people. And I think that's one of the great things about what you do, because I don't see just you as incarcerating people. I see you're trying to help folks. And let me say to the listeners right here, if you have a son or daughter that is arrested for something, leave them there.
Yes.
Do not get them out of jail. Say, that sounds so cruel. Oh, no, no, no. You get them out immediately, you're not teaching them anything. But you allow that young person to stay in jail for a night, a couple of nights, and it is going to teach them some valuable lessons. You bail them out of jail, you're immediately saying, Mom and Dad will always get you out of trouble. Oh, no, no, no. They got into trouble for a reason. And many prisoners I've had to book into jail in Oxford. And oh, no, no, no. They need to stay there and learn some lessons.
You know, people, you know, unfortunately, drugs are a part of our society, and people have substance abuse issues. And when they get arrested, they want what they want, and everybody does. That's just human nature. But letting them stay in jail, letting them dry out some is always the best advice. People call me all the time and go, "What should I do?" And I say, leave them here. We'll take care of them. They got medical care. We're going to feed them. We're going to take care of them. It's not the Hilton, as people claim. I know that's a shocker, but they'll be okay, and them getting sober will bring them back to the person they were that you used to know. So.
To me, young people with their drugs and with their cell phones are the two big problems. And you get young people taking selfies of themselves, whether it's with clothes or without clothes, and then that goes out to everybody. That picture cannot be stopped anywhere.
Yeah, we live our life on the social media world, and it's not real life. People say and do things on the internet or social media that they wouldn't say in person, and I truly believe it's degrading our society and our relationships with other people.
Well, Sheriff, I appreciate what you do, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on this program. Oh, no, no. I appreciate what you guys do, and you run all over this county. I know there's different cities that have police departments, but you even go into those. Had one last Friday that I was riding with the police and had to serve a warrant on a man that he had to get out of that house, and the sheriff's deputy had to come while 2 officers and myself were there protecting the rest of the family. Yeah.
And you're not just showing up here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted on television, you're also making some appearances in the prison too.
Very much so. I'm at the Calhoun County Jail every other week or every third week visiting prisoners and trying to help them. My wife did that for many, many years in working with them until they were transferred to Anniston City Jail. Now it's not as accessible with that. But oh, no, no. My heart goes out to these young people, the parents involved in that. They hurt. Moms and dads hurt when their kids are arrested. And they're looking for some help. I want to give that help, just like this man wants to give help.
Yeah, you're talking about needing to spend a little time in prison sometimes. I just finished narrating an audio book about a gentleman who got addicted to meth and ran a crime ring in Dallas and ended up getting a life sentence. He actually got parole earlier than expected and than they thought possible, but he got out, and he'd been in and out a few times, quick in and outs, and everything just kept getting worse. He was in there, spent some time, and had enough time to change his life. And
Sheriff, what do you suggest to parents? What do you suggest to people that are going through this thing? You commented about, I said that, about leaving a young person there.
Enabling them doesn't help anything, and that's the hardest thing to do because I have children. My children don't have any problems that I know of, but still I know how much I love my child. And these parents still love their children. You know, you're always somebody's child, and it's really hard to see clearly when it's your child and you're having to make those decisions, but enabling them doesn't help them. Giving them what they want is not giving them what they need, and we got to give them what they need and not what they want, and those are the toughest decisions.
In this book that I was reading, I was talking about, the guy talks about his mother told him when he went to jail with this life sentence, he said, "You're out of my hands now. I can't do anything for you now. You're on God's time now. Use it wisely." And he did.
Very true, Chris. You know, I like this program because you're making people feel like they're part of helping. It's not just arresting people. You're trying to help people in going through life and help them to grow up and help some of these adults to assume things. Now, I'm right in those sections with these criminals, and I usually tell the chaplain I want to go in the toughest one. You know, whatever the toughest section is, I want to go in there. And I'll go in and slap them on the back and, "Hey, how y'all doing? Good to see you." Of course, they're looking at me of, who are you? What are you doing? But no, I want to help people. I don't want to just allow them to spend time. I want to help them.
All right, well, 50 great years, and I suspect we've got plenty more years to
I hope it's not 50
from
more.
Well, thank you very much for
Chris.
50 years and for half an hour with us.
And thank you folks for helping with this as well.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we got to take another quick break. We will be back. We'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show and our Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, let's see if you can help us solve some property crimes in the area here recently. First off, on July 17th, a red 1984 Toyota Hilux 4x4 was reported stolen from a location in the 8,000 block of Highway 431. And also, between July 7th and July 17th, an unknown person burglarized a home on Jones Road in Anniston. A DVD player was stolen. If you have any information about these or other crimes, please contact Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. We want your information, not your name, and you could get a cash reward of up to $1,000.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
You know, love will make you do some crazy things.
Absolutely.
We've got an individual today for our Crazy Criminal of the Week that he fell in love at first sight with a flight attendant from Lufthansa. Am I saying that right? Anyway, some airline.
I don't know.
130 passengers had to be evacuated from a flight because he called in a fake bomb threat so he could try to get a date with the flight attendant who was about to fly out of the airport and out of his life.
I don't think that's a very good idea. You know, it's going to be hard to talk to her from jail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he did not succeed in getting the date.
that was a given.
He may find a date, but it won't be her.
No, you know, women normally like men who have opportunities and possibilities and prospects, and you know, going to jail is, you know, it's hard to date when you're in jail. So.
Yeah.
Bad choice.
So anyway, that's going to be all the time that we've got for this week. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup or calling in a bomb scare to the airline on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.